Hi, I'm Master Livy Cherbulenko. In this series, I explore the typical mistakes of people rated anywhere between 1000 and 2000. This is a first reaction, no engine analysis of a chess.com game played between 1499 versus 1545. Let's start. Right, so e4, e5, knight f3 attacking the pawn, d6 defending the pawn. Not the best move because it blocks his bishop. You know, typically black plays knight c6, right? And then we can develop the bishop and then play d6. We put the bishop outside the chain, then we close the chain and can develop this bishop. So d6 already, it's a little bit passive. Plus, it allows, okay, knight c3 not the best. It allows white to play d4. See, when we play knight c6, we have more control over key d4 square, but when we play d6, we don't really have any control. And so it allows white to play d4 with initiative. White played knight c3, that's actually too slow. In these kind of positions, when your opponent plays so slowly, when they play d6, do not waste time on knight c3. You do not need right now knight c3. Much more powerful and dynamic moves are moves like d4 and bishop c4. Kingside development. Why? Well, for two reasons. One, that way you can quickly develop your own king, you can castle quickly. And secondly, you can attack black's king, you can attack specifically f7. So what do I mean? So you can play d4, then let's say black wants to defend the e5 pawn. Let's say we go like knight d7, for example, you actually defend the pawn. Well, and now you play not knight c3, because knight c3 doesn't attack anyone, it is too slow. No, you play bishop c4 for two reasons. One, that's king development, you can castle quickly and protect your king. And two, that's attacking black's king. This is much more dynamic, much more dangerous than knight c3. Knight c3 is not attacking anyone. And now already black has some problems. Now already knight g5 is coming. You know, if we simply ignore it, we play like knight f6, or I can play like knight g5, and so basically it's game over, we take on f7. Or we could take on e5, and after d we go knight g5, and again game over, you know. Or if we take with the knight, we could just take. And even if black takes on e4, this pawn is very weak, so white could just castle and then rook e1, and a very weak pawn. And also very weak e4 square. Like white could potentially put a knight eventually on e4, and black can never attack it with a pawn. So even if they somehow defend the e5 pawn, the e4 square is very weak. But like I said, white can just play knight g5 and not even go into all this stuff. So we cannot do that. If black plays h6 to prevent knight g5, that's too slow. Then we can go d. If knight e5, we could just take, takes, and over this tactic, actually, bishop f7, deflecting with king, if king f7, queen d8, game over. And if king e7, we just take the queen and just castle, I don't know. Or just up a pawn completely winning. Okay, so can't take, so we have to take with a pawn. But black is very much underdeveloped. And actually, in this kind of position, sometimes there's this idea, bishop f7 sacrifice. King takes f7, knight takes e5. Now, why is this? Because black has very weak light squares, complex of light squares. So we take, check, and now we cannot take the knight because we just take the queen, game over. And so we have a very weak complex of light squares. So if we go here, we can go like knight g6, game over, check, take the rook, right? If they go king e8, we can give it check. King e7, at the very least we have check and take the rook at the very least. Or you can go here, king here, perhaps a check, king c6 or well, king c6 actually is queen d5 checkmate. Like the king has no moves, right? Just has no moves. And so king c5, check, here, and now have a million checkmates. Maybe just check, pam, pam, checkmate, okay? So maybe we have to go here, perhaps check, king f6, and now I guess maybe give up the knight, check, here, check, here, say takes, check, here, check, here, check, and now let's say here, checkmate, or king b4, checkmate. So you see my point. So black needs to be very precise. So do you see the danger? Do you see the danger for black of this move? Much more dangerous, immediate threat. So like black needs to be very intricate here and find some good move, but it's not h6 or knight f6. And so already in a practical game, very likely black will not find the next set of like 5 best moves or something, you know, unless he's like a very good player. All right. So this is the way to go. When your opponent plays slowly, play like this: bishop c4, knight f3, attack f7, which is the Achilles heel in chess, the weakest link in chess. We should attack f7. Okay, knight c3, way too slow. Already, it's not like white is losing anything, but we could say it's a mistake. In that, it's a huge opportunity cost. Okay, okay, bishop. Bishop e7, I mean, knight f6 is more natural, yeah? We first develop a knight, then bishops typically. It's a bit kind of weird. And plus allows white to play like knight d5 potentially and take, you know, the power of two bishops. Have a power of two bishops. It's just kind of weird. Here white does play bishop c4, yeah. Also could have played d4, another move would have been right to fight for the center. Usually we start with d4 and then bishop c4. We first put pressure on the e5 pawn and then bishop c4. But bishop c4 is also good enough, yeah. Here knight f6, d4, finally white plays d4, but now it's kind of late. Now why is it late? Because, you know, black could have played a move like, let's say, knight bd7, and now already knight g5 doesn't work. Because the bishop is on e7, black can just castle, and so now f7 is guarded by the rook. If takes, just takes, knight takes, king takes. And two minor pieces are stronger than a rook and a pawn. Why? Because these are two pieces. These are two pieces, so they are stronger. Okay. So yeah, already it's too late. Too late. But okay, black inside should take. Okay. Knight takes. Okay. c6. That's fine actually. Preparing either b5 or d5. There's also this idea of knight takes e4 potentially after knight takes e4 d5, right? And so liquidating the center. Okay. Knight f5, huh? Not so sure about that. Not so sure about that. Because, I mean, at the very least, black would just take, and after takes, white no longer controls the key d5 square, and then black would just play d5, and so create this strong pawn barrier and limit the c4 bishop, and have a very strong center. So f5 is the best square for the knight, but typically, we wanna take back with like another piece. I think white could have just maybe just castled, you know, here, and let's say black castles, and then if white wants to put the knight on f5, if like they want to put it immediately on f5, well, they could just play a move like queen f3, and then play knight f5, and then when black takes, take with a queen. Queen takes f5. This way, two things happen. One, they keep the essential pawn on e4, which controls the key d5 square. That's absolutely key, right? So it prevents black from playing d5. So black has his weak d6 pawn, but white can later on pressure, right? They can play like rook d1, bishop f4, and pressure by d6 pawn. The second thing that happens is if white takes with a queen, it's not that it's the best square for the queen, but it's that they kept the square, you know, for later on for a piece. They don't have a pawn there. So later on they could move a piece back from a5, the queen back from a5, and then put the c3 knight there. You know, they could move a queen back to f3, say, and then play something like knight e2, knight g3, knight f5. Ideally, white wanna have a knight on f5. So another plan could be to play knight e2, knight g3, and then knight f5. And then if black takes on f5, we take with a knight. You know, like if we take a knight, or white could, that would be the point. To maybe bring the c3 knight to g3 and then play knight f5. Or if white wanna play immediately knight f5 and queen f3 knight f5, but not take with the e pawn. Not take with the e pawn, that's for sure. Okay, but yeah, white played knight f5 is premature. It's premature. Okay, takes, castles. Queen, yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, now black can just play rook e8, put some pressure on the queen. I mean, I get it. White wanna castle on the queen, but why put it on e2? Why not put it on like f3? I don't know. Not to put it on the same, you know, file as the king as the rook, and then move the bishop and castle along. Why not do it like that? And then probably go for g4, g5, right? That's one plus of f5 pawn storm. It's just kind of weird. Okay, d5, bishop d3, rook e8. Already some problems. See, because now already bishop e3, I mean, there's d4. Game over. And if not bishop e3, I mean, this is coming big danger, yeah? So, but if white castles kingside, then why play queen e2 in the first place? Do you see how this is incongruent? That's how the games are lost. Like you jump from one plan to another. One moment you go queen e2, you probably want to castle queenside. Another moment you go kingside castle. Like, it's inconsequential. It's like, it's not congruent. It's not congruent. Okay, bishop d6, queen f3, knight b. Yeah, no, I mean, bishop stupid. Great center. Great d6 bishop. Great control of the e file. This knight potentially will be very great soon. Queen on f3 is kind of weird. It's gonna get attacked with tempi. Double pawns. Passive rook. Disconnected rooks. Passive c1 bishop. Poor knight. Has no moves. That's how you evaluate the position. Okay. Bishop g5. Pinning the knight. Now this is kind of weird. Yeah, no, this is definitely... Why play king h8? Yeah, this makes zero sense. There's a million moves black would have played. One, the easiest, you know, just go queen c7. Connect the rooks, unpin. That's like the easiest. Attack the issue pawn. You know, that's like the easiest. And then we also have like first like knight e5, say, right? So also ideas like maybe doubling up rooks, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. Or I don't know, maybe knight e5, attack the queen, attack the bishop, right? Centralize the knight. Also fine. Or attack the bishop with h6, I don't know, also fine. Or play knight c5, put pressure on the bishop, also fine. So a bunch of moves. All these moves would have been good. Queen c7 probably the easiest. Yeah, but okay, king h8 weird. Okay, rook h1 is fine actually. Queen b6, yeah, also not bad. Attacking the bishop pawn. Okay. Knight a4, queen b4, attacking the knight. Pawn b3, defending the knight. Wait a bit. Wait a bit, yeah. Actually, it's double attack. Wait a bit. No, so obviously white should have taken on e8 first, yeah. Rook takes e8, rook takes e8, and now pawn b3. Still white is worse, you know, because for all the aforementioned reasons, plus, you know, black can maybe like play rook e1, you know, and let's say takes here, and maybe like knight e4 with initiative, and lots of threats. This knight is poor, maybe b5, threatening, the knight has to go all the way to b3, then maybe some bishops, I don't know, right? Lots of threats. But black has clear initiative, but this is what white should have done. Well, still black would have retained clear initiative. But white played b3, okay, this is an absolutely losing move. Rook e1, yeah, because c3 doesn't work, because then black just takes on f1 with check. So yeah, okay, takes. Okay, now black is just up. A rook is absolutely winning. Here. Okay, nice. Takes. We can just go faster now. Knight e4. Attacking the queen. Okay, here probably threatening this one. Check. Checkmate. Yeah, interesting game. Alright, I hope you enjoyed it. If so, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.